Hello, everybody. Welcome to Creating Balance with Jan and Lori. We've got some really special guests with us today, and actually they're both EFT practitioners from Australia. So we are in really different time zones right now. They're a couple hours apart from each other. Lori and I are an hour apart from each other, and we're actually on different days than Jules and Katie right now. So let me introduce Jules to you. I'll start with Jules. This is Jules Vandermatt, and I met Jules a couple years ago, the very first time, through an online program that we were on together. So we tapped together. At that time, we were tapping partners for a month, and I remember you would get up in the morning. It would be like 5 in the morning for you, and you'd be tapping, and to me it was like 7 at night, the night before or something like that. So I was up bright and awake, and you were just like walking out of bed pretty much. But that's how we first met. And look at now, here we are, and we're interviewing you guys from Australia. Cool. I have more friends now from Australia than I ever thought I'd ever have in my life. So Jules is an advanced certified EFT practitioner. She's also an evidence-based EFT trainer and a social worker and a therapist with over 30 years of combined experience. Jules specializes in working with people who have experienced trauma and particularly enjoys helping women to recover from the trauma of sexual abuse with EFT and matrix reimprinting. Jules also specializes in teaching health professionals how to incorporate EFT into their therapy practice. Together with Katie Walker, she loves to help women who want to change their relationship with alcohol. Jules works from her office in Coffs Harbour on the east coast of Australia, but she works online with people from all over the world. So she is available to anybody. And Lori, I'll have you introduce Katie.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Lori Lamont, and I'm so excited that we're going to be talking to Katie as well, Katie Walker, and she is actually from the western part of Australia. So it's so interesting how I just love this. Katie is an advanced certified EFT practitioner. She's also a qualified counselor and a certified EFT relationship coach. She specializes in supporting women to help them find love, supporting them with sex and intimacy challenges and blockages, coaching working moms who are overwhelmed. Lord knows I have 4 kids, and I think Katie and I are going to be talking after this. I swear I work with so many moms, but we always need our own help too. And then offering programs for women who need and want assistance and support with changing their relationship with alcohol. So we want to welcome Katie and Jules to our call today. Thank you so much for being here, ladies.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah. So in our group, Creating Balance with Jan and Lori, September is self-care month for us. And so we thought, who better to be talking to about self-care but Jules and Katie, because Jules and Katie actually ran a program called Dry July, right? And so I was hoping that maybe you guys could share with us the benefits of taking a break from alcohol and how that can be a form of self-care and how we can really help ourselves. Maybe, let's just get a dialogue going. So what would you like to share with us about what you learned from working with these women? Or
Sure. Well, if I could just maybe touch on the fact that Jules had stopped drinking prior to doing Dry July. I don't know that you have Dry July in the US, but in Australia it is an opportunity. It's actually a fundraiser, and it started for people to raise awareness around cancer. And so I do it every year with my husband. Probably the only time that I have this really significant break from alcohol. Whereas Jules had actually stopped drinking a month, maybe a little bit longer prior to that.
Early May.
Yeah. And so Jules went, there might be an opportunity to provide some support and to let's put our heads together to think about a program. And I thought it was a wonderful idea, because normally by the end of July, I'll have bottles of wine lined up going, cool, 1st of August, bring it on, baby. And
Yep.
and I never pulled out tapping during the, in previous years to work through the highs and lows of not drinking, because it's been a huge part of my life. Anyway, long story short, it's now the 3rd month in, and my husband's still not drinking. I'm certainly not drinking, and I don't have any intentions of drinking anytime soon. I would like to have a life without it, because the benefits for me, sleeping, I wake up in the morning going, oh, this is very nice, completely clear of any kind of dullness or questioning of what happened the night before, to connections with my daughter, connections with my husband, connections with my clients. The benefits overall, I don't necessarily want to talk about bodily functions, but they're a little different as well. And my skin, like, I have to tell you, I've had that many comments about my skin. I'm like, was it really looking that shitty beforehand? Like, thank you so much for telling me I was dehydrated. So that, and that's only into 2 and a bit months.
Wow.
That's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
And I think, just if I can just say, because I work with women, like probably 90% of my clients are women, and a lot of them have big T trauma histories, but a lot of them are just coming about different stresses in their life, and menopause and traumatic births and all different kinds of things. And something that I identified was that women are these days using alcohol as a form of self-care. And that's the message, all the one-on-ones that we're doing, and in the group, what we found out was that, women are saying, I need wine to unwind. I need alcohol to relax. That's the only way I can turn this mind off. At the end of the day, big day with work or homeschooling kids and working from home, pardon me, alcohol has become the go-to for a fast forward to I don't care town, And yes, alcohol is effective in that it does quickly relax us, but what it's doing actually is depressing our nervous system, and it's pouring a toxin and a depressant on our brain and body, which then has to produce cortisol and adrenaline to kind of achieve balance or homeostasis. So, which then leaves us feeling anxious, depressed, on edge, cranky at the people around us, and not liking ourselves very much. So I've been identifying for a long time, and it was the same for me, that alcohol is like, I go to yoga and I eat really healthily, and, I do meditation and I go for all these beach walks, and people think I'm this really healthy person, and I am. But I was also tipping this poison all over my brain and body, and not actually, I was seeing the incongruence with that, but it was like, but wine is my self-care. Wine is my way of fast forward to not thinking about work anymore, not really hearing, the stresses, turning the stress down, stop that chatter. So I think, in terms of self-care September, we just want to introduce the idea that actually you think wine is your friend. You think that alcohol is helping you to achieve self-care, but it's actually what we found. I mean, how much better do you feel not drinking, Katie? Like, how much better do you feel when we come equipped as humans? I mean, it's a bit like with EFT, right? We actually come equipped with a pretty sophisticated system for managing stress, anxiety. If you don't drink, you actually don't have any anxiety.
That's right.
I'm not saying that other people wouldn't, but you might still have that, genuine anxiety that you need to address what that's about. But, in our experience as EFT practitioners, current day anxiety is often about past traumas. So, it's an opportunity to work through what's really happening instead of kind of sweeping it under the rug with alcohol.
And then it coming up and manifesting in some other form later down the track.
Right.
Yeah.
So you ladies have a program coming up in October, and called Sober October. And so tell us a little bit about this program, and who would this program be good for in Sober October?
So I can speak to the program and share the love, Jules. And so I guess we have it's very similar to what we did in Dry July, but we have tweaked it a wee bit in terms of what we learned from that program. Ultimately what happens is anyone that registers, and we're only doing small groups, and at this stage we are just doing it for women who are committed to making that change, and we're just talking about a month. It's not the choice that Jules and I are making at this point of going forever, so it's just abstaining for a month. But what will happen is they'll have a one-on-one, a 90-minute session initially with either myself or Jules, and this is an opportunity to set them up for greater success in the program. So we might work around the fear of actually going without alcohol, because that's a biggie. The shame that they're actually even having to address the problem, the cravings that they may have. So we might work on one particular aspect of the cravings around the alcohol that they have. So they'll have that first session ideally prior to us starting the program. And then the week before October, we actually do a training. So this is not anyone that doesn't know EFT can join. This is not just for tappers. This is for non-tappers. So we'll do a 2-hour intro into EFT, what EFT is about, and they'll learn, working on a craving, they'll learn basic EFT, so working on the emotion. And then they have 2 hours each week live with Jules and I, and we do a talk about alcohol, what it is from a physiological, psychological, emotional perspective, connections, and then we do an actual hours component of tapping. So we'll choose, or hopefully someone will put their hand up to work with us. We'll do a one-on-one, and the rest of the group will actually get what's called borrowed benefits from doing the tapping, which is actually tapping along. And then throughout the 5 weeks that we're with them, they'll be either with Jules or I as their kind of accountability team leader. So we'll be checking in all of the time just to make sure they're on track and deal with anything that might come up. And then they do have another 90-minute one-on-one with Jules and I through that 5-week program.
Wow.
Lots of contact time.
But as we know, the four of us know, being EFT practitioners, that's a great way to really break through things and to have a successful month.
Yeah.
You know,
and there is, sorry to neglect to say, there is a Facebook group where all of the participants will actually, it's a private Facebook group where there's lots of additional resources shared.
Oh, yeah.
We draw on a few people to share different podcasts and just cheer squad type stuff as well. And for other women just to go, I'm having a really shit day.
Right.
I'm not coping. Or I'm having a wonderful day. I've woken up feeling, euphoric. So the highs and lows, and, it's a beautiful journey.
I bet it is. Yeah. And, you ladies are, I would assume that you're going into the program when you're working with the members of the group. You're not necessarily saying, now you can never have a drink again if this is what we're going to try to do.
No.
It's just taking a break, seeing how they notice a difference in their life. And
we talk more about, it's really just about changing your relationship with alcohol.
Okay.
So if alcohol's become your stress management tool, your anxiety management tool, your way of getting to sleep at night, your way of not screaming at your kids, your way of burying your, resentment towards your partner, whatever it is, basically it's taking a break from alcohol or stepping back and kind of going, wow, yeah, that's what I've been doing. What's that about? So not all women stop drinking for Dry July program. Like some of them continued to drink, but they reduced significantly, and ultimately they felt happier with their relationship with alcohol. And we've kept in touch with all of them. Some of them didn't drink for the whole, from their first one-on-one session in June. They didn't drink all the way through the rest of June, all the way through July. Some of them have kept on, they're still not drinking because they just feel better and better and better. Yeah. And probably some of those women, I was really surprised about because they got a lot going on, and And some of them, they were like, okay, I think I need to deal with some of my trauma, some of my childhood stuff that is coming up that I was drinking to suppress the anxiety in my body, the nightmares, the fears, whatever. Yeah, so there's an encouragement to go without alcohol for the month because we just know it makes it easier, actually.
Yep.
Hard to believe,
Think
but
about it.
the more you feed that wine witch, the more she wants. Like, you've got to actually stop giving her the wine for her to shut up. And the more weeks you go where you're not giving her what she wants, the quieter and quieter she gets. And that's why we talk about, you know, Sober October, kicking your wine witch in the ass, because you want her out of your head, right? Drinking, thinking about drinking. If you're a drinker, if you're a regular drinker, you're constantly in a bit of a state of withdrawal, basically, because the chemistry in your body, you know, and you have this belief that alcohol's the answer. And we talk about that being the wine witch. She's in your ear, you know, but you've had a stressful day and you weren't going to drink during the week, but, you know, you've been invited out for dinner and you love having a glass of wine with those friends. And it's okay, you know, it's only Monday, yes, but, you know, so anybody that is a regular drinker will be familiar with that. And so what we say is, if you make that one decision to commit to go for the month and basically do whatever you need to do to get through that, and we will help you. Like, we do a lot of a lot of tapping, but also a lot of encouraging little Facebook messages, WhatsApp messages, to get you through that month, because it's only really being without alcohol that you can have that broader perspective and kind of go, actually, I am sleeping better. I do feel calm. A lot of the women lose weight just even if there's stuff in their faces.
Byproduct.
You know, even if their other cravings come up, and sugar cravings do come up when you stop alcohol. But a lot of women lost weight anyway. Like, by the end of the program, we could see their faces less puffy, their skin looked better.
Yeah, well, I have to admit, like, it's the water retention, because my husband looks like he's lost weight, but he jumped on the scales the other day and he hasn't lost weight. So I think, you know, from a physiological perspective, everything is just very different. But I think the key thing that you're touching on, Jules, is that it does allow for this sort of spotlight, and so it can feel a little uncomfortable because, as you said, we're choosing to drink to kind of push some feelings down, or, you know, stuff that we don't even know. So the key aspect is really the tapping, to be able to make that a more gentle, softer, safer process, because it can be a little confronting. So I think that's the kicker, really. And just being able to do it in that sort of environment where it's, you know, no judgment. We don't judge. I've got a background drinking.
That's, I think, the biggest thing with any of the programs with EFT that any practitioners hold. There's no judgment whatsoever. And
we've all been there.
We've all been
there. We've all been somewhere, and we can all.
And you know, there is absolutely no judgment that needs to join. If you even think that, well, maybe I should talk to Jules or Katie one-on-one before the program, just to see if I could even do this. I don't even know if I could do this. You know, we're going to be putting all their links on our page. And, you know, I can speak from personal experience because I drink wine. That's my alcohol of choice of when I drink. And every year, every January, I do a 2-week detox of all inflammatory foods. I mean, I just clean out corn products and anything inflammatory. I go through the sugar withdrawal. It hits me about day 2.5 of the sugar withdrawal, where I get angry and snappy, and more snappy than usual. But I'll tell you, within 5, and I use tapping to get through that, but within 5 or 6 days, the biggest thing I notice, and I know a big part of it is the sugar and probably from the alcohol, is that I have so much more clarity in my mind. The clarity that I have, that I can think more clearly, and the energy I have that goes on later through the day where, you know, I could come home from work at 6 or 7 at night and I still can get things done around the house. And I still am ready to go to sleep at my normal sleep. I usually go to bed between 9 and 9:30 because I'm up so early. But, you know, by 9 o'clock, I'm ready to go to bed. But I've been productive the entire time. And I noticed that the first year I did my detox, my 2-week detox, it was pretty amazing on how clear my head was and my thought process. And and it was an eye-opener.
We had women like, you know, posting photos of, I knitted this whole quilt for my grandchild, like finishing projects, because there's this kind of burst of energy for most people. And they're like, oh, I've cleaned out my bathroom cupboards, and, you know, I've gone through my closet and gotten rid of all the clothes that I don't wear anymore, and like things that have been on their kind of, you know, in the back of their mind list of things to do that were never getting done because they're sitting down with wine at the end of the day, or alcohol, whatever it is, gin and tonic, and they're sitting down because they want to knock off. But that's what happens, right? You are knocked off for there's not much interacting, you're not really present to the people that you're with, and you don't get anything done, you know, and you kind of slump off into bed, a crappy sleep, waking up through the night feeling like rubbish. So, you know, the women in our group were, especially the ones that didn't drink for the whole time, but all of them actually were noticing, feeling increased energy, a lot more productivity, motivation, clarity of mind, and just feeling good about themselves, like not having that negative, you know, oh, I'm pathetic. I said I wasn't going to drink during the week and it's only Monday and I've already broken it. Oh, I might as well drink again tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's very similar to, you know, Lori and I putting together a program for women in weight loss. And that's very similar to women who try to lose weight. You know, it's like, well, I blew it on my diet by Tuesday, so I'm just going to forget about it for now. That's very similar reaction from people.
And what really stands out to me is that this is about, like you said, this is your relationship with alcohol. This is not, and for some people, it doesn't mean you have to break up with them and never have another drink again. It's about if you make a decision or at some point to have a drink, it's because you've made that decision, not because it's a habit or because that wicked wine witch is talking to you. I would imagine, you know, I shouldn't make an assumption about the alcohol, but for us, when we're teaching with the food, it's, you know, if you did decide to make a choice with certain food choices down, you know, at some point, it's not because the food had control over you. It's because
that's a good point.
You made that, you know, like, and then there isn't a need the next day because now we're back on this habit. You know, it's more of a, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that even works with alcohol. I would think it does.
It does. I mean, we had women say, I've got a girls' weekend coming up this weekend, so I'm going to drink that weekend. Like they made the decision before starting the program. We're like, okay, like we honestly, it doesn't worry us what you do. People make their own goals that work for them. But the thing is, they come back from that week and they'd be like, oh, I just feel crap now.
But you kind of need that every now and again.
That's right. It's like you do it every now and then. Exactly. So you make a conscious choice. And then, you know, what we kind of really encourage is don't get stuck in guilt and shame and self-blame around that, because that's toxic neurochemistry that just leads you to go like, I might as well drink again tonight then because I'm
such a loser.
Right.
And then
just pick yourself up.
No way I can
make that choice. This is a consequence. I feel like rubbish. Like I was just messaging one of my clients who's probably joining the program yesterday, and she's in another country, and I'm like, don't get into the, you know, I'm hopeless and helpless and pathetic. I said, just dust yourself off, do whatever you need to do to get to bed sober tonight, and tomorrow's a new day. You know, and she's like, I'm glad I've got you in my corner. You know, and that's you, because you know, a lot of women are drinking and we feel like no one cares if we do or we don't. You know, like it's a pretty private, it's a pretty isolating kind of habit, isn't it? And what we're saying is we do care, right? If you set a goal for yourself that you don't want to drink for this month, we're going to help you whichever way it needs to happen to get there, because we know how much better you'll feel about yourself if you do.
And just one last point. It was interesting with the two, because we had two groups in July. So we had an Aussie group and a US group. Go the US team, just quietly. No, just joking. And what was interesting was that there was a bit of a theme in terms of a lot of these women felt like they were actually alone, and they didn't realize that everyone had a very similar story or a similar relationship. So I think there's a sense of, oh, thank God, it's not just me that's really struggling and has that sort of, I'm not drinking, I am drinking, I'm not drinking, I am drinking, and then, you know, I'm drinking too much and I chose not to. So it was just, I think for a lot of these beautiful ladies, they just went, oh, thank God, it's not just me.
Yeah, they're not alone.
Absolutely. And that I'm sure gives them the strength to carry on. And wonderful.
Yeah.
So both Jules and Katie are members of our group. So and all their information is going to be right here in with our video on our YouTube description as well as in our post. So there's plenty of ways that you folks can get in touch with Jules or Katie if you have any questions or if you want to learn more. And also they have their own page, their own group that you guys should be following too.
Tapping with Jules and Katie.
Yeah. So
you can, and we'll put that link in our post also, and you can connect with them on Facebook, Tapping with Jules and Katie, because I've watched them many, many, many times, and they're just sometimes pretty funny to watch. They work very well together, and they have some great topics they tap on. It's not just alcohol; it's a lot of things they tap on.
Just real life, right?
Yeah, it's just real life stuff that we all deal with every day.
Shit that happens, and we gotta deal with it.
Shit that happens, I love it. Yep, we're following that shit.
I'm just so grateful that the four of us and many others that are watching this have that fabulous tool of EFT to be able to get us through all that shit in life. And
that's right.
And
where would we be without it? I don't even
you know
know.
What?
Like,
I
don't even want to think.
I discovered it, and that I've met so many fabulous women because of EFT and men, but you know, in this case, the women that I've met and been able to interview and communicate with and tap with. So it's been a wonderful thing in many ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you, ladies, for watching. Thank you, ladies, for joining us with all these time zone different. It really didn't take that long for us to be able to get a time set for us. So we did that very easily.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
And just to say, if anyone out there has even an inclination that this program might be right for them, we need all people to have a free 20-minute consultation anyway. So then there's no pressure or obligation around that. So just get in contact with either Katie or myself by even just a Facebook message to the Tapping with Jules and Katie. We both answer those messages. And that's the best way to start, really. So we'd love to hear from any of you.
Yeah, great. Anything else we need to know, girls?
No, except for thanks for, it was so lovely meeting you. Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Wonderful. So happy.
Go Self-Care September.
Yes.
Self-Care September.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're
Keep that wine witch.
Yes, we're getting a 7-day challenge going for starting next week. So
oh, good.
Yeah, we're going to be doing self-care exercises every day, and it's a challenge for everybody to do the full 7 days.
Oh, that's
maybe one of the days will be a alcohol-free day.
Maybe it'll be an alcohol-free day.
Good idea. Good idea.
And they can always contact any of us to tap through it if they need help.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Jan. Thanks, Laurie.
Thank you.